Hey everyone, I'm Michelle and this is A Common Life. I'm a homeschooling mom of 5 kids ages 4 through 12. And today I just wanted to sit down and chat with you a little bit about overscheduling our homeschool. Right now for our family, we are just in a stage where we are basically forced to be a little bit overscheduled. As I have said in lots of previous videos, we have 2 children who are doing brain training. It is incredibly intensive and it takes, I think, like 6-ish hours a week per child to do the brain training. And so it's a lot when you're considering that is on top of school and anything else we're doing outside of our homeschool. We had to decide this spring to prioritize and not do any sports at all. We normally do spring sports for our kids, but we decided that we just can't do it this year. And so we are going to be starting swim team in May, but at least for the spring, we're not doing any sports right now because sports are a lot. You have practices during the week and then games on the weekend, and it just takes up a lot of time. If you are feeling like you are completely overscheduled right now in your homeschool, maybe you are. I think that a lot of American families feel pressure to just do so many different things. Lessons and sports and tutoring on top of school and on top of, fun social things that you can do and all different types of programs and camps and things like that. And it is very, very easy to get completely overscheduled. And then if you are a family like us, we have 5 kids. And so just consider if each of those kids were doing their own sport or their own extracurricular activity. I mean, that's all the free time that you have would basically be doing those things for your kids. And so for us, one of the things we have to do is prioritize and decide which are the most important for our kids and what we want to do, which season of the year we want to do certain things. But like I said, for right now, basically what we're doing is school and brain training. And then once we start swim team in the summer, we'll be doing school, brain training and swim team, and that's about it. Our older 2 children are involved in our church choir, but that is just a rehearsal once a week, and it's later in the evening, so it doesn't really affect the younger children or me. My husband takes them there and they all do choir rehearsal together. So they are able to still continue doing that, which is very good. But we did have several children who were incredibly disappointed because we couldn't do a spring sport. So we have promised them that once brain training is over in the fall, we will be back to our regular sports schedule. So I thought that I would just share a few tips with you guys of the ways that I have figured out how to basically un-overschedule us, if that's a word. So my first tip would be to look over all of your kids' needs and desires and figure out which ones are the most important. If you have a child who really, really loves playing sports, then find time to make that happen. If you have a child who's really interested in music, find time to make that happen. If there are church activities or things like that, make sure you fit those into your schedule. Just make sure that you prioritize for whatever is most important for your family. Every single family is going to be completely different. Every single child is going to be completely different. So you can even take time to just sit down with each of your children and with your spouse or your partner and just kind of figure out what those things are. Because I know for us, one of my sons, I had no idea that he wanted to play soccer. And he did. All of a sudden, he just really, really wanted to play soccer. And it wasn't something that I would have considered for him. I just didn't think that was something that he wanted to do. And so I think it's really important to just sit down with your kids, with your family, and kind of determine what those things are. And then sit down with a calendar and probably all the different websites and things for all these different programs or activities and figure out what you can make work. But don't go overboard. Don't feel like you have to do everything for everyone at the same time. For us, one of the things our kids like to do is play sports. And so what we do is for each season, 2 kids get to do a sport. And so thankfully there are 4 seasons in the year, and swim team, basically all of them can do swim team, which makes it really, really easy. And so fall, winter, and spring, we decide which kids are going to do which sports, and we just divide it up that way. Because for us, having 4 or 5 kids doing different sports in one season is just too much. So we decided for us that we just had to pare down and do whichever sports worked for us with whichever kids at whichever time and kind of just spread it out over the year. My next tip is to limit the activities to 1 per child, unless there are activities that you can all do together. Like we said, for sports, we decide that 2 kids each season are allowed to do a sport. That's because we have 5 children. And so there aren't even enough seasons in the year to say only 1 child can do 1 sport per season. It just doesn't work. So we've decided to double up and do 2 kids per season for sports. If there's an activity or a club or something like that that they can all go to, that's great. Do that, get them all involved. Or look around and see if there are activities that they can all do together. Maybe like martial arts, they could all go at the same time, or a music class, they can all go at the same time. And you can kind of combine things to just make scheduling a little bit easier for you and for your kids. My next tip is specifically about homeschool. A lot of us feel incredibly overscheduled when it comes to homeschool. If you are a family with multiple children of different ages, you're going to be teaching all different types of grade levels, and sometimes it's difficult to find the time to teach all of those children. Now, before you even start thinking about how your routine or day-to-day schedule is going to go, you need to determine when you want to do school. Are you going to be the type of people who wake up early and do school first thing in the morning? Are you going to do afternoon school? Are you going to be flexible? Are you going to do a 4-day week, a 5-day week? Are you going to maybe do a 6-day week? I don't know. You can do whatever you want. It's homeschool. Are you going to do unit studies? Are you going to do 6 weeks on, 1 week off, 4 weeks on, 1 week off? Or are you going to do traditional school, public school or private school calendar? There are so many options. I feel like I could probably keep listing tons and tons more, but there are so many different options. So sit down and figure out how you want your year to play out. For us, we have always done year-round schooling. That is just what works best for us because we've never lived near family. And so whenever family comes to visit us, we just stop school for a little bit. This isn't as much the case anymore now that some of the children are going to the cottage school 2 days a week, because they do still have to complete their schoolwork. But we are able to at least lighten up the load a little bit on those days when we have family visiting. But for us, it has just always been important to prioritize visitors, which are usually our family, and to make time for them and then work school around that. So you need to decide whatever is best for your family. And there is no right answer about this. You just need to do whatever works best. My fourth tip is that if you are in a season where life is just incredibly hectic and there are not things that you can drop and you just have to kind of do it all for a little while, then maybe pare down a little bit on your homeschool. What if you just focused on reading, writing, and arithmetic for a while? Just got those core subjects down, made sure that they were doing most of their work, and had a lot of time for reading. If you were able to do that, you could incorporate history and science and art and music in little bits of time without feeling like you need to put big, huge chunks of time aside for those certain things. Because if you're doing a lot of extracurriculars, or if you're just in a season of life where you have a lot of things that are going on, like we do right now, we just have a lot going on and there are only so many hours in the day. I am squeezing in this video right now. I told the kids to go put on their shoes and get ready to go because as soon as I'm done filming this, we are heading out the door to brain training. So you have to prioritize and just figure out what little pockets of time you can use for certain things. So in your homeschool, if you just simplify and just focus on the main subject for a little while, that isn't a big deal. Your kids will not get behind. They will easily be able to catch up. And one thing that we have done is we have saved read aloud time or history reading for bedtime. We'll just read it with our kids at nighttime. That way, when we have stuff going on during the day, we can use those hours more efficiently and be more productive. That way, when we're out of the house and doing activities and things like that, we're not actually skipping subjects. We're just coming back to them at a later time. And then whenever this season of life is over, make sure you pick back up with everything that you were working on. A lot of times, because you homeschool and you can make your own schedule, you can double up on things. Do 2 lessons in a book each day, or do some Saturday school and just make it work so that you're able to get all of your work done. And my last tip, which is probably the most important tip of them all, it is to take care of yourself as the homeschool mom. It is very, very easy for us to just kind of run ourselves ragged because we're taking care of everyone else before ourselves. And I ran into this problem with myself just a week ago. I was incredibly down. I had just done everything that I possibly could for everyone else and I just wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't getting the alone time that I need. I'm an introvert and I get my energy from being alone. And if I don't have alone time, I'm not a happy person. I'm really not. And I really need that alone time to just charge myself and get my energy back so that I can be there for my kids and for my husband. And so when we have this crazy schedule where we're out of the house every single day for many hours and I'm having to coordinate all of the kids' schedules and make sure that we have some homeschool done at home and some homeschool done at brain training and just all these different things. It was just a lot to get used to and I got really down. And so I have been trying really hard to prioritize myself and to make time for myself. My husband is incredible at this. He is so good at seeing that I'm feeling this way and he will make sure that I get alone time. This past weekend, he took the kids to go see a movie and he took them out for lunch and he just, let me have some time at home by myself because that's what I need. I don't really need like alone time going out and shopping and things like that. Like I honestly just want to be home where it's quiet and I don't even mind like doing some chores and things like that because if I can do it in peace and quiet, that's enough to kind of recharge me. Now we're all different, so obviously what works for me may not work for you. If you're an extrovert, then none of this is probably gonna work for you. But if you're an extrovert, find ways to get out of the house and see people and do things that would be, give you more energy for when you need to be home with your kids and be taking care of your family. That old saying, if mom ain't happy, ain't no one happy, is totally true. Any homeschool mom can probably understand that because we are always putting our family and our children before ourselves. So make sure that you take time for yourself, especially if you're in a season where you are overscheduled and you don't really have a choice. Right now for us, I don't have a choice. I just need to use the hours of my day as best that I can, and then I try every night to take just a little bit of time for myself to do something that is relaxing and something that kind of recharges me a little bit so that I'm ready to go the next day. I hope these few tips were helpful for you. I know that there are lots of seasons in life where we're just overscheduled and we really don't have a choice about it, and we have to just kind of push through and get it done. So these are a few tips just kind of help make it a little bit easier. I know it's probably not easy, and if you're feeling very overscheduled, you may be feeling a little bit down as well. As homeschooling moms, we always put our children and our family first, so just make some time for yourself as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more homeschool videos in the future. And if you have any other suggestions, please put them in the comments down below. I would love to read those and share those with some of my homeschool mom friends. Have a great day.